Hey everybody, thanks for stopping by. Here we go, another little West Point Thoroughbreds WPT powwow. Jason, Tommy Murphy, Joe Bianca, coming to you from all parts of the United States. But it's good down here. Things are going well midweek in South Florida. Getting ready actually to see both of you guys in a few days. We got OBS right around the corner there, Joe. I know you'll be hopping on a plane along with Tommy M and a few other people.
Yeah, Sunday morning I'm heading down to Ocala. It's going to be great. Of course, it's going to be nicer weather here than it's been all winter the second I leave, but I'll be in the sun anyway, and so I'm not going to complain too much. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. It's a really exciting time of the year. Like we're getting closer and closer to the Derby, less than 2 months out. And we got the sales coming up with some new recruits being added to the stable. Hope springs eternal this time of year, Jay.
It absolutely does. And I'll tell you, like Tommy, coming out of last year's 2-year-old sales season, we touched upon it during the webinar, which was great last week with David and Gordo, who was his, always wonderful self on there. But it's like, man, I think back to the horses we bought last pretty much March, April, and May, and it's like let's do that again because we wound up with a lot of quality, not just horses that won, but a lot of stakes quality horses.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, if there was a way to sign us up and said, just do the same thing again, run it back, I'd be first in line. I'd raise my hand, me.
Mm.
But obviously, to David and his team, they're down there now, already looking at the Breeze show. I think starts today.
But today, yeah.
Yep.
So
Yep.
real excited to get down there, put our heads together with them, see what kind of horses, athletes we can find, and do our best to mimic that class of last year. There's so many that you can probably highlight there, and hopefully it's going to be tough to follow up, but we're going to do our darnest to do just that.
We absolutely are. We've got a nice crowd too. I mean, a really nice group of people coming to OBS. So, I'll speak on behalf of Joe and Tommy and the team. Looking forward to seeing everybody in Ocala for the 2026 OBS March sales. Always a great time. And you know what? I mean, I was thinking about just bouncing guys to like last week slash mostly weekend and doing so in chronological order. But you know what? Talking about our 2-year-old class specifically from March and April. I think, Counting Stars, despite not winning the Honeybee, was definitely the highlight. And with all due respect, and not to denigrate anybody else, she was the most important horse running just in terms of a hierarchy last weekend. And, was an April purchase coming out of OBS. And it was great seeing her rebound so well in the Honeybee Stakes. In fact, I had pulled up the replay right here, and here it is. I mean, Tommy Murphy, you were at the race where pretty much last. She's just sticking her head. There you go. There's
Yeah.
Counting Stars and Francisco Arrieta, second to last in the picture, getting her head in there. Thought the jock rode her flawlessly, and I think you probably heard a big collective sigh of relief from the team and anybody that's a partner on her because she's been a Jekyll and Hyde filly.
Yes, no doubt. And we just saw it, that three horse, the 70-1 shot when she went by her down the backside. That was kind of in my head the moment of, uh-oh, what horse are we going to get? Is she going to back out there like last time, or is she going to do what she's doing right here and make this sweeping run in the turn, start swallowing horses up? But obviously, right here, there's no doubt in my mind which Counting Stars had showed up that day. And, you just got to tip your hat to Explora. We know what a talented horse she is. I'm sure that we're going to see her again. But this run and just to finish here, to put these other horses away from Counting Stars, set her sight on Explora was really fantastic to see, and a great way to bounce back for her. And right after the race, both Mark and Francisco were smiling ear to ear, super happy, super pleased, obviously, with how she ran. Francisco, I know, posted it on Chatter, but the first thing he said to me was, "She's back," and I had to stop him there. I was like, "Hold on, let's get this on video because that's too good." So I was really happy, and if you look, you'll see the three go by her, and I really think that, in my mind, was a pretty pivotal point of the race of what just the fork in the road. Which way was she going to go? And again, we know which way she went, and now we got a date with the fantasy setup where we know what we got to do to get to the big dance.
Yep. I mean, she's got to basically, Joe, run 1, 2, or 3. If she runs back to her race last Sunday against, look, maybe this hasn't been collectively a 3-year-old filly class that has like blown me out of the water. Joe, I feel confident saying like if we get something similar to Counting Stars, her effort on Sunday, she runs that way in the fantasy, she'll punch her ticket to Churchill Downs in May.
For sure. I mean, I love seeing the figure come back 87 for that race because, as you mentioned, there have not been any standouts really in the 3-year-old filly class thus far. Now, these two probably ran the top two figures, I would say, through March 4th when we were recording this. The other thing I loved about this race was that she didn't quit. Like there was a time at the top of the stretch when Explorer kind of spurted away, and I was thinking, all right, well, so at least she showed up. She ran well. She's going to flatten out a bit, like maybe be third. She kept trying to reel her in all the way down to the wire. And like, I saw something that Equibase said she ran 3 feet more than Explorer. Like that seems completely preposterous to me. Like
that's insane, dude.
Yeah,
Three,
like, it was so much.
Yeah, add a zero to that. Maybe not a zero, but dude, like,
he was so much wider. And I think the thing too that I kind of like, obviously it would have been great to win, but the thing I kind of like about her running second instead is that now she has to punch her ticket. And as you mentioned with the Jekyll and Hyde-ness of her, you need to know that you're going into the Oaks with a live horse, with a horse that's on the upswing. And if she had won this race, and then say we run in the fantasy and she runs like 6th or something, then it's like, well, what do we do now? Are we really doing the right thing taking her to the Oaks? Now she has to run 1, 2, 3 to get into the Oaks. And that tells me that, if we do have those 2 back-to-back good races, there will be no doubt that's the right thing to take her to the Oaks. So I kind of like the fact that she still has to show up again and prove she can do it back-to-back against top competition in order to get to the big dance.
Yeah, well said there. I hadn't really thought about, right, if she wins and you've got enough points off Sunday's race, but she doesn't run as well a month from now, are you doing what's really right? I mean, we all want to have a Derby horse and an Oaks horse. And look, we've got a long way to go still, but I have absolutely marveled in my mind, like, with Counting Stars and then Reagan's Honor, like 2 honor APs. I don't know what and it probably doesn't even matter. Like, just like how many mares he covered his first couple of seasons. The fact that we got 2 stone cold runners by him it's pretty incredible. So yeah, good run out of Counting Stars. Race came up solid against a very good filly and Explorer. And we'll move on to the last last round of preps at Oak Lawn Park with her in about a month's time. So, guys, my neck of the woods down at Gulfstream over the weekend, actually on Saturday. Well, we had horses running over the weekend because Sansone was terrific on Sunday. Saturday, though, Battle of Normandy ran very well. In the case of Revolutionaire in that first race, Joe, not a great effort. I think there's 2 ways to look at Revolutionaire, or at least the conversation going forward. I would totally be for having a legit discussion. Does he potentially need easier horses? But then there's that other side of me that's like, you know what? Maybe we give him another shot in a non-winners of 1, like moving up to Aqueduct in the springtime.
Yeah, and I think that's a good call. Is like the only excuse that that the Clement team could come up with that for that race was that it's a super baked turf course, like baked to a crisp. You saw them run was a 137-4 in that race, and that was just an allowance race. So he's always had some issues with his feet and his ankles, and they think that maybe the turf course was too firm for him. You come up to New York, it's a much deeper grass course at Aqueduct, even if it's firm, but especially if we get like a little bit of weather and get a little bit of moisture into the ground, I think that would fit him better. I do think he's worth taking another shot up north in an allowance. And then if that doesn't work out, then obviously we have to have the conversation about some class relief. But it was disappointing because he had been training awesome. Like, seemed like he had been training as well as he ever had. So I expected him to run so much better than that. So I'm gonna draw a line through it, but I think for sure the next start, hopefully up in my neck of the woods, will be pivotal for him.
All right, and then Battle of Normandy, Tommy ran well. I'd like to think, took a little bit of a step forward in his second start back as a 6-year-old. Was not in the same area code as the winner. Barkley's horse just kind of ran off the screen, Tiz Dashing, as one of the bigger priced horses in the field. But our guy hung in there, was game in that blanket photo for the place spot. And I'd like to think, again, moving forward, whether it's Keeneland, whether it's Aqueduct, we've got a Battle of Normandy who's like steadily on the improve here as he'll be making his third start back wherever he runs next time out.
Yeah, and it was hard to watch the slow-mo replay of the finish because I didn't really want to see where we did finish because it was nervous because you could either been second or fifth, and you can see, the finishing order, their head, nose, a neck. The true blanket finish, but awesome for him to get the nose down for a second. Like you said, I really think this is a great second race for him off layoff. I think he's only going to get better and better as we've seen a lot of horses trained by Shug do as they get more races underneath them, and especially as they're getting older. We know how talented he is when he went on that 4 race win streak back in 2024. And I think he can really be competitive in some of these older turf division races. I certainly think he belongs right there.
Definitely. Skipping over Sandman for a sec, we'll double back to him. I mean, both Liberty's champion and Casa Run, they both need to, I think it's quite frankly time, or maybe even a little past time to, to seek some class relief with both of those horses. And they're going to run against easier last time out. Sansone on Sunday was really good. I mean, this was a Colt purchase for quite a bit of money as a yearling. Expectations. A lot has been expected of Sansone since the day he walked into that Keeneland auction ring back in September of 2024. We have had to be very, 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 or it would have been 2023, very, very, very patient with him. But he is back. And I'll tell you, Joe, to me, it was a combination of passing the eye test. I mean, this looked like a powerful and fast looking performance. And, if he can hold together and he's been sound and healthy, this horse might be sitting on like a gigantic 4-year-old season. And he was, in fact, purchased as a yearling in 2024.
Yeah, no, I'm excited, and obviously being a half brother to Midnight Bisou, he's got the bloodlines to be special. Thought the race did set up pretty well for him. I would say, like, with these 4 horses going after each other, but he finished like a freight train, and he's a big horse. Tough to get a horse like that sound off the layoff. Not sound, but tight enough off the layoff to really have him be able to put his best foot forward. But man, like that was incredibly visually impressive. It was a no doubter at about the 8th pole, and thought Joel fits him very well. Patient rider, strong finisher. But yeah, he's always been a horse that Shug and the team have been high on, and he's obviously got the pedigree to be really nice. And I do think that going 2 turns next time out theoretically will be even better for him. This was very, very good and very satisfying, Jason, to see this.
Yeah, and even Shug was saying, you know what? When it comes down to it, he ran the way he trained and the way he was supposed to run. I know Shug. Not that he was getting hot under the collar, but the winds were not piling up this winter down here. So I think this was in a lot of different departments. This was a feel good sort of needed victory. So yeah, the excitement's there for Sansone. We'll look forward to his next start, I would imagine. And he ran in the Woodford colors, which he'll always run in the Woodford colors. Given Shug, Woodford, us, Keeneland, like any other than going 2 turns, whether it's a mile and a 16th or 9 furlongs at Keeneland, would likely be in the cards for him next time out. He bounced out of the race well with that 88 buyer. So I am going to jump on camera here. Just want to tie a ribbon, guys, around Sandman, just where we stand now. Love the horse. Lightning in a bottle is sort of an understatement with just the Sandman craze that we all sort of lived through last season, in the run up through the Triple Crown races. He just quite simply has not looked like the Sandman. Even the Sandman running third in the Preakness last May, Joe, his race Saturday, it was just kind of a non-effort, and that's unfortunately been an issue with him now. His last 4 races, he just really hasn't, it doesn't seem like, tried all that hard.
Yeah, I mean that's the problem. Is like he's sound. I thought he looked good in the post parade, like he's put on muscle. So I don't think it's like a fitness deal. I just think unfortunately he doesn't want to do it anymore. And it's a tough situation when you have horses like that where he's kind of like a borderline stallion prospect right now. Like he's not like a slam dunk, so everybody wants to stand him, but he's a grade one winner by Tapit. Fortunately, it's a bad time of year to be trying to sell a stallion prospect, but he obviously is not a horse we would ever risk for a tag. So it's kind of we're kind of between a rock and a hard place here in terms of what we do with him for the next several months because maybe we give him one more shot and an allowance or something. But once horses lose that will, and that's I think what's happened with him. It's very, very tough to get him to get it back.
Griffin, on Twitter had posted a pretty nice sort of after action tweet, just thanking everybody for the support. We're not saying Sandman's retired because he's not. And, ultimately it'll be up to Mark and the team. Do we give him potentially another race, look for an allowance race, drop back down? But, just wanted to come on here on behalf of, everybody in West Point Nation, thank him for a great ride. I mean, it was a lot of fun last year, Tommy. I mean, if you had told me at any point really in my horse racing life going back to the early 1990s that I would have this job where you've got this awesome gray colt by Tappet in the mix named Sandman, named after Enter Sandman, and he will get on the radar of Metallica and they will know who he is and be involved. I wouldn't have believed it for a millisecond, and all that stuff happened. So we love Sandman and, want to thank him for the ride that he took all of us on.
Yeah, it really was. Looking back on it now, it's coming up on a year. Just the whole lead up after he had won the Arkansas Derby, you guys, whole team was in town for the Derby, which was fantastic. Have everyone here in Louisville, and just to the whole experience. And I kept telling myself, about the 2 or 3 weeks leading up to, is no matter what happens, enjoy this. There's no guarantees you're ever going to go back, especially in the Derby. And I don't think I will never forget him for just the experience he gave me. I'm sure you guys, all of our partners, it was just spectacular. I echo your guys' sentiment, just about everything you said.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens with Sandman going forward, and we'll try to purchase another Sandman next week at OBS March. So glad Sansone's well out of the race. I seem to have lost my West Point page here. Let me just share my screen for the home stretch here. I still really love this Super Corredora banner, and you know what, guys? She'll get her chance to hopefully punch her ticket to the Kentucky Oaks on Sunday out at Santa Anita. In fact, let me call up her race. We'll bounce around. Sunday the 8th. Race number 8, Santa Isabel. Joe. Yep. She drew a good post. We are outside or in that second to last post and outside the Charlton filly for Baffert, who out of everybody in the race scares me. Or if there was one horse, I'm like, I obviously have my eye on. It's clearly going to be forced entry, but dude, on paper, there are no excuses for Super Corredora against this group of 3-year-old fillies.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what the pace is like. Hopefully, if she is on the lead, she's not having to go too fast. But I do like the outside draw, and it's something, knock on wood, she's been pretty blessed with so far in her career is getting to have that outside draw. We saw it in the juvenile fillies. We'll see if anybody wants to go crazy for the lead. You'd think, like you said, the Charlatan filly's going to go to the front. She's stepping up, way up in class. I think Michael McCarthy's horse, Piney Woods, is scary as well. This is a horse that clearly wants to go 2 turns, didn't know what he was doing or didn't know what she was doing first time out, still rallied pretty strongly in the stretch to get third, had a blowout win, was still green last time out, getting out to 6.5 furlongs. She kind of has that Super C look to me. Like, she obviously is not tactically the same, but definitely looks like a horse who is waiting, crying, dying to go 2 turns. Those are the 2 that I think worry me the most. But main thing is Super Corredora put herself in this race with 2 terrific works at Santa Anita. Hopefully that little illness that she had that was lurking under the surface is behind her. Just really excited, and hopefully she can follow in Counting Stars' footsteps and get back on the right foot heading into the Oaks, because she's the class of the field. She just has to prove it once again this Sunday.
All right. Good luck to Super C. And I couldn't agree more about her last couple of works, specifically that breeze on March 1st just the other day. That was maybe the best piece of work I think collectively we've seen from Super Corredora. She just looked awesome. We have got, and I was like, man, wouldn't it be cool if the timing worked out and we could kind of do basically like a live, like, as the kids say, IRL, watching either Keep It Easy or Will Powered run at Tampa. But we're taping this thing at 2:30. So what? We've got about an hour and a half before Keep It Easy runs on the grass, and then Will Powered is 60 minutes after him. Are you guys gonna put your money where your mouth is, and bet Keep It Easy today?
Already have.
Yeah, I am for sure. There's two horses in the race that scare me. I wish the 11 hadn't drawn in. I
Yeah.
think the horse might be a total freak. Spirit Prince and the 11 are the main other rivals. I would play him to win and then under those two horses in exactas.
Well,
Yep.
we need a little Dale magic on the grass, and then we've got Will Powered going in his second turf start. He was really good in his grass debut, and we'll see ultimately how he does in his first allowance race. And the goal with him naturally is to have a huge season up north. We might have a really nice New York bred on our hands. So a couple of Gulfstream starters, guys, over the weekend, including Pillar of Beauty on Friday afternoon. I was happy for a change. She's not outside per se, but she finally has a post that's like, not that she's had the rail in her last couple starts, but Joe, I was happy to see her draw post 4. And ultimately, like, this is going to be another good test for her in this race. And we'll see if she can rebound and just get back in the direction of her first race, which was legitimately very good.
Yeah, for sure. We're looking for a big bounce back from her as well. I didn't think this field came up particularly strong. Like, I know you have the 2 and the 3 runners from her last race that beat her, but there's like really nobody that I'm all that afraid of. And I would like to see her be able to settle a little bit. I think the problem last time was just her being kind of under the gun from the start with that inside draw. I think she's better off settling and making one run. But yeah, I think this looks like a very reasonable spot. And I just, I love that this was a surprise entry. Like, the plan with her was to run like maybe late March at Gulfstream or early at Keeneland. This was something that I didn't see coming. Her running the first week of March, so that's always a good sign to me, just from a handicapping perspective. Like, when a trainer puts a horse back in sooner than you'd expect, it almost always means they're showing them the perfect signs.
And when you consider the source, the guy that'll be putting the tack on her, nothing more needs to be said. Yes, the GOAT, the absolute GOAT in Trader Bill Mott. A little Cajun Gold action on Sunday, guys. He's going to step up and make his Florida bred allowance. I will be on my way to Ocala, so a little bummed to be missing the race in person, but I think we're all excited, Tommy, to see him. Naturally, in my mind, it's like, okay, maiden win was maybe even a little better than I thought he would run off that long layoff. Like, can he step forward here? Maybe we have like a nice little Florida bred stakes horse here for the spring and summer down at GP.
No, totally. I think coming out of that race of his to see him jump like that, first, I love the fact that we have Gilbert Torres back on board, who I thought rode him really well coming off the layoff. And I think if he could run back to that same kind of effort, he's going to be extremely tough in here. And I totally agree with you. I think he fits really well amongst these Florida breds. There's a couple other speed horses in here. I'm not too terribly worried about. There's also might be something to be said about having an apprentice jock riding us. So knowing 5 less pounds may help us out here and there. Probably not too terribly much at the end of the day, but I'm just looking for him to continue to progress, especially considering he won off the layoff. See if we can take another step with him and start to build towards a really productive year from him.
All right. Then we've got a final boss there, guys, out west. What's the Joe, you talk to, John and Juan, John Souther and Juan Leyva weekly for the updates. I mean, where are they at with a horse I will always love because I named him. So I am a final boss fan, ride or die. I mean, what's the vibe with him?
Yeah, I mean, he's trained well. It was good that we gave him like a little bit of a break after that, kind of pretty significant spring and summer campaign. I think he was a horse that was a little tired by the time he ran 6th in that City of Hope mile. So he's been training great. I think this is kind of a function of, the kill row is not what it used to be. It's obviously not a grade one anymore. There's no killers in here. Like, he's obviously got 5 wins, so there's no real allowance options for him necessarily that are at the ready. But yeah, I like that I like that he's in a spot where he doesn't have to run a career top to win this race. Like, if he runs one of his good races like he did at Del Mar, in that mile win last summer, which I think you were there for, Jason, I think he's right there. So I'm excited.
All right, good. Good luck to Final Boss and rest of our horses running. That'll include, in all likelihood, the overnight's not out yet for Tampa Bay Derby Day, but Tis the Lady and what's supposed to be her second start on the turf. I know they up at pace and they have just loved, and it's been shared in the updates the last couple of weeks. They have absolutely been over the moon with the way that she has trained with the addition of blinkers. So anxious for that overnight to come out. Tampa Bay Derby's coming up, a solid race. And before we sign off, guys, Joe, I'll start with you. Give us a quick thought, not only on the Tampa race, or are you a Renegade fan, or is there somebody else in there you're looking at, like Further Ado? What'd you think of the Fountain of Youth and the Rebel Stakes at Oaklawn last weekend?
Well, I was going to say, I can't talk about the Tampa Bay Derby because the PPs aren't out yet. Can they get with the times and start doing
It's
like
insane.
the 5 or 6
Yeah.
day out
7
draws,
days
like
on,
your
please.
biggest day of the year,
Insane.
and it's Wednesday afternoon, and I still don't have the past performances or even the entries for that. So just a quick bug up my butt about that. But no, like I thought they both were extremely exciting stretch duels. I think Commandment and Chief Wallaby project better to be Derby contenders. Commandment in particular, I think, has that right style. He's got just enough tactical speed to lay close, and then he can finish. Chief Wallaby, for a horse that, if you read all the quotes from Bill Mott, didn't seem like he was too keen on running in that race, ran his eyeballs out, and maybe he doesn't have enough seasoning to be a Derby horse, but he looks like he could be a potential monster 3-year-old later in the year. So both good races, from a fan perspective, but I'm more interested in the top two from the Fountain of Youth going forward.
And Tommy, class president on the other side of things, winning the Rebel late Sunday at Oaklawn. I guess for me, deep down inside, I've kind of questioned regarding just the quality of the last couple of Oaklawn preps. Not to really, that Silent Tactics is a pretty nice horse. I'd probably side with Joe, or at least in terms of like excitement, like that visceral. These are two very good horses, lean in the direction of the Fountain of Youth. But man, there was something like really satisfying to me watching the Rebel and seeing, Todd and Johnny V teaming up with another Derby prep. And like Johnny, so strong, man. I can't remember how old he is, but he hasn't lost anything off his fastball, just in terms of like how strong he is in a dogfight. There's no other jock that I would rather have head to head than John Velasquez.
Yeah. For that reason, he's still my favorite of all time. And watching him, being there, at the race live, I thought Silent Tackle was just going to blow his doors off. Johnny
over, dude. Turn it for home,
Johnny
dude.
almost rode the race. I think kind of baited Silent Tactic getting up with him, knowing that he was going to end up putting him away anyway. It was a great ride. Obviously, you said it. Get Todd and Johnny. You forgot your favorite angle, just son of Uncle Mo. So it even adds to that. But that was a really fun race to watch as a fan, because those two just threw it down. I think probably going to see something similar next on the Arkansas Derby, hopefully from them and maybe a couple others. But like you guys, I'd probably lean a little bit more towards some of the horses coming out of Florida. I got to put my money where the mouth is on horses coming to Louisville on the first Saturday in May. But still, both races were excellent from a fan standpoint, and obviously a handicapping standpoint if you had the winners there.
All right. Well, I'll look forward to seeing you guys in a few days. Safe travels to Ocala, Florida, and appreciate everybody stopping by. Good luck to all of our horses this weekend, including our 2-year-old filly champion, Super Corredora, Sunday out at Santa Anita, and happy hunting to the entire team. There you go. You got the Super CBC hat. I had my Flightline hat on earlier today. Got my OBS March haircut. How's it looking, guys?
There you go. Looking good.
Slick.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'm fresh as a daisy for OBS March. So I'll see you guys in Ocala, and we'll catch everybody next time.